This evening, TIGI's statement about the Granger government being corrupt has not gone down well with the current administration. One young lady has a record of being accepted in all the top universities and colleges in the United States of America, and she is Guyanese. The AFC wants the Minister of State to be stripped of his power, while a newspaper columnist believes that too much power in one man's hands causes a foul-up. Thousands will be accommodated at Jubilee Park for flag raising, while the float parade will change its route for the upcoming Independence Jubilee celebrations in May. Internationally, it was a crooked deal, said Donald Trump about the Colorado delegation allocation process after he lost to Republican rival Ted Cruz.
From SAFETV headquarters in South Randolph Gardens, this is SAFETV Headline News with Basil Bradshaw.
President David Granger has called the Transparency Institute Ghana Incorporated statement that his government is corrupt outrageous. The president made the comment on his recent public interest show at the weekend. Senior reporter Andrew Weeks reports.
Transparency Institute Guyana Incorporated has called on the David Granger administration to immediately issue the names of all the persons who have been given instruments of office after the May 11, 2015 general and regional elections, as well as to give answers on the Joseph Harmon and Brian Tiwari issue and the GRA and Baishan Ling matters. But President David Granger thinks that GITI went about the wrong way dealing with the matters pertaining to the Minister Joseph Harmon. Listen.
Well, as a responsible non-governmental organization, I would ask Transparency International to have a meeting with Mr. Harmon and ask those questions before going to the press. It's very difficult for the government as a whole or any individual minister to conduct that type of debate, shouting at each other in the press. If they need information, let them approach Mr. Harmon.
As to the suggestion that his government is corrupt, Mr. Granger said,
when they make statements about the government is corrupt, what does that mean? Does it mean I'm corrupt? Does it mean that the public relations is corrupt? That the Prime Minister is corrupt? So it is an outrageous statement, and I would ask TIGI to verify its information before going to the media. If they have questions, put those questions to Mr. Harmon. If the questions are not answered satisfactorily, you could make a release to the press. But it is difficult for me to accept a blanket criticism of the entire administration because of one incident. As is well known now, when the matter of Mr. Tiwari's appointment came to my attention, I rescinded the appointment. I said the Minister of Business is competent to provide advice to me on matters of business, and that was the end of that matter as far as I'm concerned.
Mr. Granger also stated that the issue of Mr. Harmon and the GRA has been dealt with via the Finance Minister.
So I've had discussions with the Minister of Finance, who is responsible for GRA, and I believe corrective action is being taken. From time to time, errors of judgment will be made. I'm not saying there was an error of judgment here. But when complaints are made, they are investigated. And I'd ask non-governmental organizations to ask for those investigations or ask for information before going on the street or going to the press. I'm not saying that that there was no error, but explanations can be given, and Mr. Harmon has explained. People did not know why he went to China, and there was a lot of speculation. But there is a decision. He went to China with Ms. Prasad to discuss NISL business. And after that, people don't even apologize. People don't even say, oh yes, an explanation may be given. They move on to some other topic.
TIGI said it had expected that a coalition that campaigned on a platform of anti-corruption would have immediately and vigorously confronted corruption as a primary issue. But President Granger admonished TIGI to put questions to Mr. Harmon himself before going to the press. Basil?
Sounds like a tangled situation becoming more entangled. Thank you, Andrew. An overseas-based Guyanese has been the center of attention in the United States, having gotten accepted into all the top universities and colleges in that country. Rihanna Ahmad has that story.
At age 17, Kelly Howes has found herself way up on the list of overseas-based Guyanese who have excelled and made their families and birth country proud. During an interview with Pix 11 News, the Jamaican Queens resident said that she got acceptance letters from every one of the top colleges across the country. These include the country's 8 Ivy League institutions.
I wanted to check it by myself, but my mother wouldn't let me, so she called me over saying, "No, Kelly, we're checking this together."
Look at it. Look at this. Look at the list here. Brown, Columbia, Cornell, Dartmouth, Harvard, Princeton, and then the list goes on and on and on.
Yes.
How many schools total did you get accepted to?
21 schools in total.
Okay, and who's offering the money? That's what, the list goes on. Who's offering the money? That's my question.
For the most part, I will get a free ride to almost any school that I choose. So money may not be so difficult to get.
Growing up in Vryselas on the east coast of Demerara, the young lady acknowledged her Guyanese upbringing, saying that studiousness had been ingrained in her.
Your family came to this country from Guyana, right?
Yes.
You were 11 years old. How did that change the way that you looked at school?
Well, Guyana is we don't have as much educational opportunities as I do over here. So when I came to America, I knew that I needed to take advantage of all the opportunities that I have to reach out and make my community proud and make myself proud. So just using all the opportunities that I have and having that community and that support system back home really made it easy.
Howes has been telling U.S. media that her accomplishments did not come easy, since there were lots of sacrifices to be made. They include boycotting parties and social events and having just about 5 hours of sleep each night.
The biggest part of my achievement is realizing that I'm only human and I'm going to make mistakes, but it's how I handle those mistakes and how I handle those the obstacles that I face that will determine whether or not I'm successful in life. So I just needed to realize I'm human, go to tutoring, reach out to my teachers, and just stay faithful.
Did you hear that? She went to tutoring. So, I mean, look, this isn't some genius here. This is a regular kid that made a decision that she wanted to achieve because she understood all the opportunities that kids are getting.
Howes said she knew at a young age that her parents were struggling to give her a decent life and that a scholarship was necessary to get her into a respectable college. But little did she know, she would be accepted into all of the most respected academic institutions in the country of over 300 million people.
But I became interested in neurology when my grandmother's husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and just seeing how the degeneration of the disease and how it took a toll on his body has really inspired me to look more into the disease.
Well, you are inspiring a lot of young people, a lot of old people like myself, just a lot of people in general. Congratulations to you. I'll tell you, any of those schools would be lucky to have you.
A student from the high school for math, science, and engineering at City College, New York, Hal said her passion and goal in life is to become a neurosurgeon. Not so long ago, little Anaya Willibus became the youngest published author in the United States. That 9-year-old has been representing her Guyanese roots all the while. And Basil, if you would recall, Anaya is the daughter of Dimple Singh Willibus, former host of Rhythm Nation Entertainment, a program that used to air on Channel 9.
Yes, I do remember that program, and I do accept that being Guyanese or having links to Guyana is an asset for education. Thanks, Rihanna. The Alliance for Change has called for the stripping of power of Minister of State Joseph Harmon and the enforcing of the minister's code of conduct during a key leaders meeting yesterday at a retreat, which is part of an ongoing effort to review the party's performance. Andrew Weeks reports that popular Culture News columnist Freddie Kissoon feels too much power in one man's hands causes many foul-ups.
In a statement released by the AFC last evening, AFC said it thinks Guyana would be best served if these powers are divided, that the responsibilities of each of these portfolios, advisor on business, cabinet secretary, minister of state, etc., are substantial and of critical importance to the smooth operations of the government and would benefit from separate appointments. Sharing his views on the issue, popular Culture News columnist Freddie Kissoon, who spoke with me via telephone today, tends to agree with the AFC's proposal.
Well, I've seen the Gazette when the government was sworn in, and he had about 18 items under his jurisdiction, which no other minister had even 5. then you also have to look at the fact that the Prime Minister is the one next to the President. I mean, after the President is the Prime Minister under the Constitution. And maybe some of those powers should reside in the Prime Minister. I mean, the second, who's the Deputy Prime Minister, who's the Deputy President.
After the mayor and deputy mayors were sworn in last week at the Ministry of the Presidency, the media flocked around the Minister of State, Joseph Harmon, for comments. But as you can see here, he was of no help to the media. Mr. Kissoon feels that statements he released via his press secretary, Malika Ramsey, is unlike Harmon. Freddie Kissoon said,
It's not only no answer is not a good thing. It's if you don't have an answer, you should shut your mouth. But I am absolutely nonplussed by a man being asked about specific situations, and he could say if the people elected him. I mean, what is the relevance of that statement? I don't believe when that statement was issued, he was advised.
Mr. Kissoon believes that what Mr. Harmon did with Brian Tiwari just months after the elections warranted a proper explanation.
He's not corrupt. Some people think what it was nothing wrong. But why he did it? Why did he appoint the businessman without telling the business minister? This guy is seen with a man who is so patronized by the previous government leader, which is Mr. Jagdeo, that it brings us to focus two things. Mr. Jagdeo's nature of rule and Mr. Tiwari's relationship with Mr. Jagdeo.
Basil, the AFC said it has instructed its leadership in cabinet to have the issue raised and addressed as a matter of national importance. The question is, how will the party bounce back from the growing scandal surrounding Minister of State Joseph Harmon's appointment of Brian Tiwari as an advisor to Minister Dominic Gaskin, the Minister of Business, and the question about his relationship with officials from the controversial Chinese logging company Baishan Lin. The country is waiting for answers. Over to you, Basil.
And the issue is catching now like wildfire. Thanks, Andrew. Coming up on Headline News after the break, the new mayor of Georgetown led her team of councillors on a site tour of the city over the last weekend, and flags to represent each of the administrative regions may soon be introduced by the government.
Seems like people will try just about anything to lose weight these days. But nothing works better than proper dieting and exercise. So if you're guilty of eating the wrong foods, not finding time to exercise, or can't afford a gym, join SAFETV Channel 2 for Body and Spirit. Aerobics workout with Dick Nunez.
Hello, I'm Dick Nunez. Welcome to Body and Spirit Aerobics.
Weekday mornings from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Don't hesitate. Act now, because your greatest wealth is your health.
John Lewis Styles, simply different.
Sometimes there's just too much information to keep up with when you're pregnant. What you should and should not eat, what kind of exercise is right for you, how to handle mood changes, even how to determine when it's time for delivery.
Don't let your pregnancy be a burden. Watch The Baby Story on SAFETV Channel 2 every weekday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Now you can know all you need to know from conception to delivery when you watch The Baby Story on SAFETV Channel 2.
iPad asks, are you involved in agriculture? Do you have crops, livestock or poultry? Do you need finance to grow or expand your farms?
iPad agriculture loans from $40,000 to $20 million are designed to meet your needs. Repayment terms are based on crop cycle.
iPad works and supports you through difficult times.
With advice on technology and mentoring.
Contact any of our 13 offices countrywide.
iPad, improving livelihoods.
Get going, keep growing with iPad.
John Lewis Styles, simply different.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's for dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
A massive amount of more than 20,000 persons are expected to turn up at Jubilee Park for the much-anticipated flag-raising ceremony. Rihanna Ahmad will shed some light on the agenda as well as the planned parade.
Patriotism continues to build as the government day by day announces the exciting events it has planned for the country's Golden Jubilee celebrations, which kicks off in a few weeks' time. At an event to update the media on the program, Special Projects Officer of the MASH Secretariat, Lennox Canterbury, gave a brief outline of the proceedings.
We're having a 100-piece youth choir. We'll be having the National Steel Orchestra, 100+ strong, and then we'll have performances by different groups using patriotic songs, and their performances, like I said, will be accompanied by the choir and the band. So there will be a minimum of 5 major performances.
The Durban Park, which is currently under construction, will be the venue for the major events. The grand flag-raising ceremony will be held there, while what is expected to be a spectacular road parade will culminate at the location. But unlike Mashramani, the Jubilee Parade will have a slightly different route.
We will proceed along Church to Avenue of the Republic. Then you make a left on Avenue of the Republic, going south to Brick Dam. And then you turn east into Brick Dam, and you go up and to go into the Durban Park.
That's where the judging of the floats will take place instead of the usual national park. According to Dr. Sita Roth, who sits on the 50th Anniversary Committee as the Artistic Director, entities and agencies participating in the parade will be crafting their pieces to reflect the country's 5 decades of independence.
They're looking at the persons who were the major movers and shakers within the particular decade. They're looking at the highlights, the news highlights, the major achievements, whether as a nation, as a company, as a region, as a ministry within that decade.
Dr. Roth explained that the parade organizers are looking to put on a massive show of international standards, but one that showcases strictly all things Guyanese. This will all be done under the theme, Reflect, Celebrate, Inspire. It was reminded too that while the events are being coordinated at the level of central government, it is a celebration that all of Guyana must partake in, so as to show the world, Basil, that the land of many waters is one where the people have national pride.
Well, it is a celebration for all Guyanese who have 50 years of pride to exude. Thanks again, Rihanna. The mayor, deputy mayor and councillors visited a few markets, pumps and cokers around the city at the weekend. Andrew Wicks reports this was a part of their orientation as new councillors to get on par with the works of the council.
According to a Gini report, Mayor Patricia Chase Green and councillors, along with officers at City Hall, were out in the sun at the weekend, visiting areas that are of major concern to residents and businesses in the city and the constituencies. First up was the Coker in the Munishwars compound. Two councillors, Andrea Marks and Carolyn Caesar, expressed shock and dismay.
Visiting my Munishwar site, the Coker there, I feel I now see where the flood used to really occur in Georgetown, because to what I saw, it is not pleasing to me.
Now, it needs upgrading, it needs desilting. The walls of it has corroded over the years significantly. So there's definitely work that needs to be done there.
One of the engineers told the mayor and councillors of the importance of pump stations and the challenges faced by El Nino.
It's one of the several infrastructure on the shores of the city. And like I mentioned as well, the maintenance. Our pump is currently going on, is undergoing maintenance because, as I said, annual maintenance, and we have to take it out to do some maintenance work. But the good thing for us now is that because of this El Nino, prolonged El Nino season, we can afford to use the normal gravity flow. So we benefited from that.
Mayor Chase Green, Councillor Malcolm Ferreira, and Deputy Mayor Sharad Duncan explained how important the visit was to them as councillors. Insert.
In this new council, we thought it best that all councillors should be having an idea of what you're coming into, because during the campaign there were lots of talks of how I will do this and I will do that, and so we needed to have you oriented to know how the council operates.
The rainy seasons are almost here, and we want to make sure that the city is ready for those rains. Also that our capital works projects on the whole are running efficiently and effectively, and then get down to the business of forecasting and casting vision for what we want Georgetown to look like going forward.
To know exactly how the ship is, to find out what is the standing of the council as it relates to infrastructure, staff, as well as the finances, not only limited to, but to have an idea and a complete understanding of where the city council is.
Having come out of a 3-day orientation program, Basil, it looks like the councillors' main business. What may be a next stage is how the councillors will address the issue of tax collection in the city, where many businesses have not been doing so for years. Basil?
And there are so many other areas to cover in the corrective process. Thanks, Andrew. In yet an effort to enhance national pride, the administration is looking to have flags to represent each of the administrative regions. Rihanna Ahmad will explain it in this story.
Actually, there's a design that every region must have its own flag. I see a region in Guyana like a state in America. People are proud of being Texan, they're proud of being Californian, they're proud of being New Yorkers.
That was President David Granger speaking with reporters on his latest public interest program. The head of state explained that he has seen Guyanese embrace and defend their regional roots, which to him is more valuable than national pride.
I've detected in Guyana a great deal of local pride. People are proud of being Barticans. In fact, they get very upset when people call them Barticians. People are proud of coming from Mabaruma, what people used to call Northwest in colonial times. People are proud of being Borbicians.
President Granger also reminded of the support that each region has been receiving from its people, especially those who have migrated.
If you look at some of these villages, there are organizations in the diaspora which send back financial and other assistance for those communities. Sometimes, I go to quarantine during August. There's a medical team coming back working in Firish. Some, and Port Morant, you see sometimes a mandir being set up by people in the diaspora.
The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces is strong in his belief that the local government process should do all that it can to avoid smothering that feeling of national pride.
The Minister of Communities has actually introduced the flags to the regional chairman or chairpersons, and I expect that there will be some discussion within the regions. It's a consultative process. We're not laying down anything.
Granger said that the ideas have been put to the regions and that a feedback is currently being awaited on the way forward with this proposal.
They're in the hands of Mr. Bolkan, and I expect that sometime during the course of this year, there's no deadline, there's no timetable, but we would like to see every region showing pride in the characteristics and in the resources of those regions.
The President explained that it is expected that if agreed, the councils of the 10 administrative regions would be given the honor of coming up with symbols that best capture the beauty and pride of where they represent. Basil?
Much effort has been made in that direction previously. It is only left to be upkept. Thanks, Rihanna. Still ahead, the Colorado delegation allocation process incurred the wrath of Donald Trump after he lost to his Republican rival, Ted Cruz.
Seems like people will try just about anything to lose weight these days. But nothing works better than proper dieting and exercise. So if you're guilty of eating the wrong foods, not finding time to exercise, or can't afford a gym, join SAFETV Channel 2 for Body and Spirit. Aerobics workout with Dick Nunez.
Hello, I'm Dick Nunez. Welcome to Body and Spirit Aerobics.
Weekday mornings from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Don't hesitate. Act now, because your greatest wealth is your health.
John Lewis Styles, simply different.
Sometimes there's just too much information to keep up with when you're pregnant. What you should and should not eat, what kind of exercise is right for you, how to handle mood changes, even how to determine when it's time for delivery.
Don't let your pregnancy be a burden. Watch The Baby Story on SAFETV Channel 2 every weekday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Now you can know all you need to know from conception to delivery when you watch The Baby Story on SAFETV Channel 2.
John Lewis Styles, simply different.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
Internationally, following a loss to Republican rival Ted Cruz, Donald Trump slammed the Colorado delegation allocation process, calling it a crooked deal. Let's hear more in this report.
Is the Colorado Convention a preview of what's to come when the Republican National Convention meets in July? Ted Cruz wins in what's being called a voterless victory, and Donald Trump cries foul. Trump broke several days of media silence to protest after Cruz won 34 delegates in Colorado's Republican convention over the weekend. But there was no primary, no caucus. Instead, convention goers picked a candidate's delegates. And some of Trump's delegates were hindered by misspellings and misnumbered paperwork that show Trump's ground game may need some work. But Trump today on Fox News insisted the delegate system is the problem.
Colorado, where they just get all of these delegates, and it's not a system. There was no voting. I didn't go out there to make a speech or anything. There's no voting. And, I heard Pete say, well, that's the way it is. Well, that really shouldn't be the way it is. This was changed in the summer to help a guy like Cruz, and it's not right now. I won, as an example, South Carolina. I won it by a landslide, like a massive landslide, and now they're trying to pick off those delegates one by one. That's not the way democracy is supposed to work. Now, I'm an outsider, and I came into the system, and I'm winning the votes by millions of votes. But the system is rigged. It's crooked.
So Cruz's camp in response says that he won fairly through a, quote, superior organization.
And that's SAFETV2 headline news for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to find SAFETV2 headline news on Facebook and YouTube. You can also tune in tomorrow morning at 6:30 for a rebroadcast, and in the evening at 7 o'clock for more news. For now, I'm Basil Bradshaw, signing out from your newscast.